Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. What a news cycle we've got going on. Everyone's freaking out about balloons, spy balloons from China. It's like everywhere you go, there's a spy balloon. It's like not every balloon is from China, people. Anyway, point being is that whatever you see in the mainstream media isn't always what you should believe, but you do need to dig a little bit deeper. It's like, seriously, like, come on. Not like they're all from China. Guys, we got to get to today's story. Now, I have a story for you today, and it is about copper, and it is very interesting and very telling on what is going on with the Chinese market. Because when it opened up and people thought it was going to be massive, all of a sudden there was some expectations like, well, wait a minute, things aren't what they seem. So let's dive right into the story. So here we go. Okay, so now to tell you about today's story, it is entitled, it's a column out of Reuters, While Dr. Copper Waits for China buys more copper. Now, you guys know that I probably went over this before. The term Dr. Copper was synonymous with the strength or the weakness of an economy. When copper started rising, that was a really good indicator to a lot of analysts on Wall Street and investors on Wall Street that the market was doing good, that the economy was doing well, that there was new construction blowing up everywhere. But now that there are so many new ways of using electricity to power things, now Dr. Copper is moving around everywhere. It's like, am I here? Am I there? Where am I going? How strong am I? How weak am I? So guys, before I dive into this story, I want to thank today's sponsor. And the reason why I want to thank you for sponsoring this video is because companies like this keep me going, honestly, keep me able to take time off of work and make videos for you. Today's sponsor is Cucho Copper Corporation. On the TSXV, the ticker is KC, and on the OTC boards, it is KCCFF. All right, here we go. It says here out of London, Dr. Copper has started the new year with a fresh spring in his step as investors bet on a powerful demand boost from China's post-COVID reopening. London Metals Exchange 3-month metal is currently trading at $9,345, which is up 12% on the start of January, with funds jumping back into copper as a proxy for the China recovery story. Yet it's not as if China, the world's largest copper user, has been absent from the market. It says right here, the country's net imports of refined copper totaled 3.64 million tons last year, an increase of almost 300,000 tons on the 2021 and the second highest tally after the record-breaking year of 2020. Let me stop there and just explain that this is why I invest in the resource sector, because I know that we are about to experience a resource bull market. I don't believe that we're in the thick of it right now. It's just starting to fire up, especially because of the tensions between different countries, Russia and Ukraine, China and Taiwan, that is coming. It looks like it's building and building. The tensions keep getting stronger. And as these tensions from country to country keep getting stronger all around the world, we see supply chains break down all over. And I honestly believe that you are going to see tensions at such a high level in the future. I can't tell you when, that you're going to see trade alliances completely break away, and countries that once thought they had a supply of either natural gas, oil, gold, copper, silver, nickel, anything, just name it, they're going to find themselves completely out in the dark and having to source that metal or that energy somewhere else, okay? And that is happening. Look at what's going on in Germany with the whole Russia and Ukraine war. Now it says right here, imports of mined concentrates, meanwhile, notched up to a new annual record of 25.32 million tons, and those of copper scrap were the highest since 2018. The mystery is where all this metal has gone, since visible inventories within China remain historically low. It says the strength of the year's imports, last year's imports, were even more surprising given the financial problems at previously owned Meiki Group. One of China's top import channels abruptly halted all of its copper purchases in the summer of 2022 after it ran out of cash to pay suppliers. This has created a ripple effect of supply shortages and higher premiums for users in the Shanghai area, and the editor, gonna have to help me with this one. Guangdong. I think I nailed that one.
Guangdong
Province, where Meiki was particularly a powerful player, but it has clearly had a minimal impact on the overall flow of refined copper into China, nor has there been any surge in arrivals of unwanted Russian metal, such as seen in aluminum. China's imports of primary aluminum leapt 59% last year as metal was redirected from Western markets. But China's imports of Russian copper annually fell by 20% to 324,000 tons in 2022. This is proving my point precisely. It is so important to know where you get your metals, your minerals, your materials from, right? But in times of war and uncertainty, especially as economies are collapsing all over the place and trade alliances are stopping, you're literally seeing the West separate from the East. The BRICS nations separate from Western economies right now before your eyes. And just like this story proves, where's the metal coming from? We're seeing the buying going on. Where are they storing it? Where's it coming from? Where it once came from Russia, now it's obviously coming from somewhere else. And this is what gets me really excited about this sector. So that brings me to today's topic, to today's sponsor, and that is Cucho Copper, okay? Now guys, again, the tickers for Cucho Copper are on the TSX Venture Exchange. KC is the ticker, and the OTC is KCCFF. Now, a little bit about Cucho Copper, but I'm gonna need some notes because I don't know if you know this, Ninja, well, he doesn't read very well, but he also needs help. He doesn't have any fancy stuff. So editor, I need help. And what do you mean there's a Chinese weather balloon? Is it weather? Is it spot? Oh, it's weather. Okay, it's just a weather balloon. Do you think you could have that swing by California and drop off my notes for me? All right, cool, thank you. Man, he is good. He's really good. Yeah, China? China? Yes. It's just a weather balloon, right? Okay, I can't have this stuff on the tubes if it was something else. Okay, don't spy on us, please. Also, a little message from the ninja. All right, yeah, you got this thing coming in? I don't see it. I don't see it. I just see a bunch of streams in the air. Oh, I see it. I got it. So is this like one of those life lessons that things look bigger in mirrors? It's not that big of a deal. It's from China. All right, here we go. Let's do this. All right, so a little bit about Cucho Copper. Cucho Copper Corporation is a Canadian resource development company focused on expanding and developing the Cucho high-grade copper zinc project in northern British Columbia. Committed to a social responsibility and the highest environmental standards, the company recently completed a feasibility study on the Cucho project and is advancing the permitting with the objective of getting to a positive construction decision. All right, so net present value. A lot of people hear about the NPV term, but let's talk about Cucho and look at their robust project economies. And they talk about after-tax NPV of 7%. This is what they're talking about. Net present value is the present value of the cash flows at the required rate of return for your project compared to the initial investment. Now, this says it is a method of calculating your return on investment, or ROI, for a project or expenditure. Just so you guys know, ROI, return on investment. If you look at Cucho's information, they talk about significant leverage to rising metal prices. Their net present value increases as the price of copper goes up. And that's that leverage that I've been talking about for so many months now. And that's why I'm looking at resources, because as every single resource between nickel, zinc, copper, gold, silver, all those things start to go up, the leverage when you're talking about the mining equities is at much, much greater leverage than if you were to just hold the actual raw material. Also, if you look at the slide that they're talking about where they're referring to an 11-year mine life, at about 4,500 tons per day, they start to break down all the metrics of what that could be worth over the lifetime of the mine. Now, some highlights I want to go over. Corporate project highlights. The feasibility study showcasing an after-tax net present value of, and they're showing net present value of 7% of 536 million Canadian and an internal rate of return of 30.5%. And this is considering that they would have at 4-pound copper, including a mine plan for a predominantly simplified open pit mining operation and a technically robust and capital efficient project with a minimized footprint. They are located in northwestern British Columbia, Canada, one of the safest mining jurisdictions globally, with producing mines in the region, including Bruce Jack and Red Chris, as well as several advanced projects. Now, those two mining areas, the mining projects, come out of Newcrest Mining and Newcrest Imperial Metals, large projects, large companies. Now, they said they have strong financial report. Wheaton Precious Metals, and everyone here has heard of Wheaton Precious Metals, I'm sure, has an agreed precious metals stream in support of mine development and strategic shareholding. So to go into the Wheaton Precious Metals story a little bit more, as far as how it plays into Cucho copper, Wheaton Precious Metals converted an aggregate of over 38.4 million into various streaming arrangements and considerations, including 7.5 million US dollars into common shares of the company at 90 cents a share. And that press release came out on February 11th of 2022. So that shows a lot of confidence that Wheaton has in Cucho copper. And to show you a little bit more about what's going on with Wheaton, the $100 million financing package, if you see, 15.8 million US dollars went towards project acquisition, $10.5 million US into equity participation, $7 million provided to fund the feasibility study, and $58 million for development capital, which is to be paid. Pretty darn impressive. When you start, or you're able to get a hold of large institutions like Wheaton Precious Metals, there's huge upside to them being able to come in and finance your project, and then you are able to give them the metal at a certain price, a fixed price. And it's a really neat way of being able to do financing for a mining operation. Now, looking ahead to 2023, Cucho Copper intends to showcase the project's upside potential through, and I'm going to go over a couple bullet points. One, advancing both near resource and greenfields exploration targets, re-entering the environmental assessment process as the step towards completion of permitting for mine development, and undertaking First Nation and community engagement and consultation, supporting field visits and completing economic participation agreements with both the Tahltan and Kaska First Nations. Hopefully you get to see what I'm talking about when it comes to the natural resource sector and why I'm in it. I believe that we're still super early in this. I don't own every single stock out there. You can't own every stock, but what I do suggest is this. Make sure that you don't dive all into one company, one brand. Make sure you're diversified and study the teams, study what they're all about. And it's very important that companies actually get their word out, get the press releases out. And there's a lot of news on companies just like this one that need to get out to show people what they're doing, because there's going to be some significant changes, I believe, in world economics and how metals and minerals are transferred all around the world for vital infrastructure like electric cars, wind power, solar, anything and everything to do with electricity. I think it's going to be literally a totally different world next year and the years after that than what we're seeing right now. I guess at this point it's time to go. Now, guys, honestly, I know they've been calling for all those spy balloons to be shot down, and I just want to give a little message to my current government. Do you know how easy it is to take care of this? Ninja notes. Bam. We're out.